People judge fast, sometimes in a single glance. A torn shirt, dirty hands, worn-out shoes, and suddenly you're less than, not worthy, or out of place. But that night, in the most expensive restaurant of the city's tallest hotel, a snobby couple made the biggest mistake of their lives. They pointed at the poorly dressed janitor, insulted him, mocked him, kicked him out in front of everyone, completely unaware that the man they were humiliating was Jason Statham, the actual owner of the hotel. And the moment he told them who he really was, the entire VIP hall froze, and the couple noticed they just messed with someone they couldn't afford. Before we continue, thank you so much for watching and supporting these stories. It truly means the world. If you're enjoying this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. Now, let's get back to the story. Jason Statham didn't look like someone who belonged in the glittering, gold-lit restaurant on the 64th floor of the Starlight Hotel. Not tonight. Not with the disguise he wore. A ripped beige shirt clinging to his shoulders, holes exposing scratched skin, jeans worn down to threads, boots scuffed and dull. His hair was unkempt, his face shadowed with grime, making him look like a man who'd slept behind a dumpster instead of someone who owned the building everyone was dining in. And nobody knew. He walked through the revolving doors quietly, without fanfare, without the security entourage the public assumed followed him everywhere. He had asked them to stand down tonight. No one recognized him. No one expected the billionaire owner to stroll through his own lobby dressed like he'd crawled out of a sewer. That was the point. Tonight, he wasn't Jason Statham, hotel magnate. Tonight, he was the janitor, at least to everyone else. He loved doing this once in a while, disguising himself, walking among customers, seeing how people treated those they believed were beneath them. It told him everything he needed to know about who deserved a place in his hotel and who didn't. He stepped out of the elevator when the doors opened onto the lavish dining area. Massive chandeliers poured warm light onto marble floors. Guests in designer outfits sipped $1,000 wine. A string quartet played a soft melody near the bar. Every detail was immaculate, exactly the way Jason demanded it. But his attention went immediately to a table near the window where a woman in a bright red dress sat with her husband. She was stunning, with sharp features and perfect posture, but her face tightened with disapproval the moment she spotted him. Her husband looked confused at first, then embarrassed, glancing at the other diners who were beginning to notice the rugged stranger in their midst. Jason wasn't surprised. Rich people judged quicker than anyone. He continued walking, heading toward the service hallway where he always started his undercover visits. The staff didn't recognize him in this state, not unless he wanted them to. And tonight, he didn't. As he passed the couple's table, he heard the wife whisper harshly, "What is someone like that doing here, in this restaurant?" Her husband leaned in, probably wandered in by mistake. Security must be sleeping. Jason ignored them, though he heard every word. He made his way behind the scenes, checked the kitchen, greeted the staff, made notes about what needed improvement, and ensured everything was running smoothly. Hours passed as he shadowed a real janitor, mopping floors, wiping tables, and fixing a loose hinge in the bathroom door. It grounded him, reminded him of where he had come from before success, fame, and money. His past was stained with poverty, with struggle, with humiliation. He'd learned early how people treated janitors, and he never forgot. By the time he stepped back into the dining room, wearing the same torn clothes, several guests were already murmuring, whispering, frowning. The waiter at table 12 avoided making eye contact with him, as if embarrassed that someone of his kind was visible. Jason was heading toward the exit when the woman in the red dress suddenly stood up and blocked his path. It happened quickly, too quickly for anyone to stop her. She jabbed her finger toward his chest with theatrical disgust. Her shrill voice sliced through the elegant hush of the restaurant. "Get out, you're ruining our dinner." The room fell silent. Someone dropped a fork. A couple at the bar turned simultaneously. Jason blinked slowly. "Excuse me." "I said get out," the woman barked, stepping closer. "You're filthy, look at you. This is a VIP restaurant, not a shelter. You do not belong here." Her husband tugged her arm, panicked. "Honey, sit down, he's just a janitor," she snapped. "That's what he looks like. A dirty janitor who wandered into a place he can't afford to breathe in." Jason's jaw flexed, but he said nothing. Not yet. The woman waved toward the maitre d'. Why is this person allowed in here? Remove him now. The staff froze. They were torn. They didn't want to embarrass a guest, but something about the man in front of them felt wrong. His eyes were calm, too calm, his presence quietly commanding. The husband leaned closer to his wife again. Please stop. You don't know who he is. She scoffed. He's no one, look at him, probably looking for leftover food, pathetic. Jason inhaled slowly, still silent. Another guest whispered, maybe he works here. The woman rolled her eyes dramatically. I don't care if he works here or not. He can work out back, but he doesn't belong in the dining area while I'm eating a $300 steak. The husband now looked mortified, sliding his hands over his face. Jason finally spoke, voice level and sharp. Why does what I wear bother you so much? Because it's offensive, she spat. People like you should use the service elevator and the back door and stay away from people paying real money. Jason raised an eyebrow. People like me. Yes, she snapped. Poor, dirty, unimportant. Don't pretend you don't know what you are. A few gasps ripple across the room. Jason tilted his head. And what about you? What exactly are you? The woman huffed, lifting her chin proudly. I am a VIP, a paying guest, a wealthy woman who comes here to enjoy herself without being reminded that society has bottom feeders. Jason felt something flare inside him. Old memories, nights sleeping under broken roofs, eating from garbage bins, getting kicked out of restaurants as a young man because he looked poor. The room watched him intensely. Everyone wondered how the janitor would respond. He spoke quietly. You should be careful calling someone a bottom feeder. You never know who you're talking to. She laughed cruelly. Oh, I know exactly who I'm talking to, a nobody. Her husband whispered frantically, stop, please, that's. She cut him off loudly. He's staying silent because he knows I'm right. Jason stared at her for a long moment. Then he stepped to the side, ready to walk away, refusing to escalate the situation. But she wasn't done. She shoved his shoulder. Not hard, but enough to cross a line. Get out, she hissed. Leave now before I call security. Jason didn't move. His eyes hardened just slightly. The maitre d', pale and trembling, finally approached with an apologetic tone. Sir, I'm sorry, but she wants you escorted out. It might be better if you. But he never finished. A voice thundered from the back of the room. What's going on? The restaurant manager stormed forward, only to freeze when he recognized the man in torn clothes. His face turned ghost white. Mr. Statham. The entire room gasped. The woman blinked in confusion. What, who, this dirty man? The husband whispered, horrified, honey, that's Jason Statham. She frowned. Jason Statham, the actor. The manager shook his head quickly. No, Jason Statham, the owner of this hotel. Silence complete, crushing. The woman's face drained of color. Jason finally exhaled and looked at her calmly. You called me filthy, a nobody, a bottom feeder. His tone was razor-sharp but soft, and you judged me because of clothes. She stammered, I didn't know. That's exactly the problem, he said. People like you never know. You look at someone for 1 second and decide their value. Her throat bobbed. I didn't mean. Jason shook his head. Oh, you meant every word. The room was dead silent. Even the violinist had stopped mid-bow. The woman's lips quivered. Please, I'm sorry. Jason then turned to the staff. Bring her check. The husband blurted, we haven't even ordered dessert. Jason's voice cut through the air. You're done for the night. The woman stared in disbelief. You're kicking us out. Jason met her eyes without blinking. No, I'm banning you permanently. A stunned wave moved through the room. Her knees trembled. You can't. I just did. She looked around desperately, but everyone avoided her gaze. Her husband quietly collected their things, refusing to look at her. Jason stepped aside. Leave. The couple walked out slowly, the woman shaking, the husband apologizing to everyone they passed. When they were gone, Jason turned to the staff. Please serve everyone dessert, on the house. The restaurant erupted into relieved applause. Jason wasn't finished, though. He walked to the center of the room, looked around, and said with controlled strength, "Let today be a reminder. You never know who someone is, so treat everyone with respect, always." The applause grew louder, heartfelt now. That night, no one saw Jason as a janitor. They saw him as the man who exposed arrogance, with nothing but truth. The restaurant was still buzzing long after the couple had slunk out in shame. Most guests remained seated, not wanting to miss anything else that might unfold. Jason didn't like attention, didn't crave praise, didn't enjoy applause, but tonight, he let it linger for a moment. Not because he cared about being celebrated, but because tonight hadn't been about him. It had been about every staff member who'd ever been disrespected, every worker who'd been spoken to like they were invisible. Tonight, the lesson had been delivered loud and clear. Jason quietly excused himself and slipped through the kitchen doors. The noise faded behind him as he entered the brightly lit, bustling world on the other side, cooks preparing orders, dishwashers scrubbing fast, servers rushing trays to waiting guests. The moment he stepped inside, the staff froze. "Sir," the head chef whispered, almost afraid he was imagining things. Jason gave a simple nod. "Good work tonight, food's excellent, kitchen's running smooth." The entire kitchen collectively exhaled, smiles spreading across tired faces. Many of them had heard the commotion. All of them knew by now who had been wearing the torn clothes. The head chef, a tall man with tattoos and a serious face, raised his chin. "We heard what happened out there. Thank you for standing up for us." Jason shrugged slightly. "No one should have to tolerate disrespect. Not here, not in my hotel." The assistant cook chimed in, voice soft but emotional. "No owner does what you do. Most don't even know our names." Jason nodded toward her. "I do, Maria, right?" Her eyes widened. "Why, yes, sir." "Your mole sauce is unmatched," he said with a wink. Maria gasped. The kitchen erupted in quiet laughter. Jason moved deeper into the hall, passing the cold station and the pastry line. Every staff member he encountered stood a little taller tonight. When he reached the employee corridor, something tugged at him, a feeling he couldn't ignore, a heaviness lingering in the air. Someone had been crying. He followed the sound to a small break room where a young server stood wiping her eyes. Her apron was wrinkled, her hair disheveled from a long shift. She looked up when he entered and froze. "Mr. Statham, I didn't know you were. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to cry in here." Jason raised a hand gently. "You're allowed to cry anywhere you need to. What happened?" She swallowed hard. "It's nothing, just a rough night." "Tell me," he urged softly. She hesitated, then exhaled shakily. "The woman you removed, she spilled water all over me earlier, on purpose, said I was too slow bringing her napkin. She laughed about it with her friend, and I had to pretend it didn't bother me." Jason felt his jaw tighten again, not in anger but in the weight of what he'd missed earlier. "What's your name?" "Sophie," she murmured. He took a step closer. "Sophie, listen to me. You didn't deserve that, nobody does, and tonight wasn't your fault." Tears streamed down her face again. "Thank you, sir. Sometimes people treat me like I'm furniture." Jason placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're not furniture. You're the backbone of this place. This hotel runs because of you. People like her come and go. People like you keep this place alive." Sophie let out a trembling laugh, half relief, half disbelief. "Thank you, really." Jason nodded. "If she ever sets foot in this hotel again, you let me know, immediately." Sophie's eyes widened. "I will, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Statham." He gave her a nod and left the room quietly, letting her breathe. He wasn't a man who used speeches to solve problems. He used actions. And tonight, his actions had spoken loudly. As he returned to the dining floor, the guests straightened up, watching him walk through the room. But their stares weren't judgmental anymore. They were curious, respectful, even admiring. Jason hated attention, but he didn't shy away from purpose. And tonight, his purpose walked back into the room with him. The restaurant manager hurried to him, his hands shaking slightly. "Sir, I hope we handled things correctly. I'm so sorry about earlier. I didn't recognize." Jason cut him off with a calm nod. "You did fine. Next time, trust your instincts. No one should be humiliated in my hotel, no matter who the guest is." The manager exhaled heavily. "Thank you, sir." Jason scanned the room. Dozens of pairs of eyes stared back, filled with questions, admiration, disbelief. Some clapped quietly again. Others mouthed thank you. Jason approached an older couple who had watched the entire scene unfold. They stood as he neared. The elderly man extended a sincere hand. "Son, that was the most honorable thing I've seen in years. Most rich people I've met would have ignored it." Jason shook his hand gently. "Then you've met the wrong rich people." The older woman smiled warmly. "You remind me of someone who hasn't forgotten where he came from." Jason held her gaze for a moment. "I never will." He excused himself and moved toward the bar. The bartender, a tall man with gentle eyes, poured him a glass of water. "Sir," the bartender murmured, "I didn't know who you were, but I knew that woman was out of line. I'm glad you stepped in." Jason lifted the glass in acknowledgement. "Thank you." The bartender swallowed nervously. "To be honest, a lot of people treat us like we're ghosts, like we're here to serve, not exist." Jason nodded knowingly. "That's exactly why I do this." He finished his water and left the restaurant floor entirely, heading toward a private elevator that led directly to the penthouse suite. Only when he entered the silent hallway did he finally allow the evening to settle on him. He unlocked the penthouse and stepped inside. The room was enormous, floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, minimalist furniture. But tonight it felt heavier than usual. The world outside glittered, bright city lights reflecting in the glass. But Jason didn't go straight to the bar or the sofa. He walked to the window, staring at the skyline, thinking about what he witnessed. Society wasn't much different from the world he'd tried to escape when he was younger. He remembered being thrown out of restaurants, being mocked for being poor. He remembered stealing bread to survive, sleeping under stairwells, fighting for dignity long before he ever fought on movie sets. And people still judged him on sight. Sometimes he wondered if anyone ever truly changed. His phone buzzed suddenly, interrupting his thoughts. It was the general manager of the hotel. "Sir, are you still on the property?" "Yes," Jason replied. "There's something you should know. The couple you banned, they're downstairs complaining to security. They're demanding you personally rescind the ban." Jason closed his eyes for a moment. "Of course they are. Shall I tell them you're unavailable?" Jason inhaled slowly. "No, I'm coming down." He hung up and took the elevator back to the lobby. As the doors opened, he spotted the couple near the front desk. The woman looked furious, makeup smeared, hair slightly disheveled. The husband looked like he wanted to disappear. When she saw Jason, her face twisted with desperate indignation. "You," she snapped, "you can't ban me. Do you know who I am? My husband and I are regular guests here." Jason walked toward them without emotion. "You're regular guests, past tense. You should be grateful people like us dine in your hotel," she hissed. "We bring in money, reputation, influence." Jason stood a few feet away, utterly calm. "I don't want your money." "You'll regret this," she spat. "I will ruin you online. I will tell everyone this hotel mistreats customers." Jason raised an eyebrow. "You're free to lie online, but the hundreds of guests who witnessed your behavior tonight will be telling the truth." Her face crumpled. I was upset. I wasn't thinking clearly." Jason stared daggers into her eyes. "No, you were thinking exactly how you always think. You believe money gives you permission to treat people like garbage." She opened her mouth, then closed it, defeated. Jason continued. "This hotel stands for dignity, equality, respect. You violated all three. You're banned for life." She blinked rapidly, tears forming. "Please, please, I'm humiliated. Haven't I suffered enough?" Jason's voice softened slightly, not with pity but with reality. "Maybe next time you meet someone who looks poor, you'll think twice before judging them." Her husband finally spoke quietly, voice strained. "Let's go, this is over." He gently pulled her arm, guiding her toward the exit. She went reluctantly at first, then completely broke, burying her face in her hands as they walked out into the night. When the doors closed behind them, the lobby fell silent. The general manager approached Jason tentatively. "Sir, you handled that with more patience than I would have." Jason exhaled. People reveal themselves when they think no one is watching. Tonight, she revealed everything. "Will you be staying longer, sir?" the manager asked. Jason shook his head. No, I'm done for the night. He headed back to the elevator, hands in his pockets, feeling the weight of the evening begin to slowly lift. But when he reached the elevator, he heard footsteps behind him. It was Sophie, the young server he comforted earlier. "Mr. Statham," she said softly. Jason turned around. "Yes. I just wanted to say thank you again, for standing up for us, for seeing us." Jason offered a rare, genuine smile. "You deserve to be seen." Her shoulders sagged with relief and gratitude. "You know, growing up, my mom used to tell me there are two kinds of rich people, the ones who brag about being rich and the ones who stay human." Jason gave a small nod. "Your mom was smart. She'd be glad to know you're the second kind." Jason paused. Something about her words hit him deeper than she could know. "Good night, Sophie," he said quietly. "Good night, Mr. Statham." She walked away and Jason stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, he took one final breath, letting the events of the night settle. And for the first time since he'd walked into the restaurant disguised as someone invisible, he felt oddly calm. He had money, power, success. But none of it meant anything compared to being a decent human being. Tonight proved it again. And tomorrow he would continue testing people, not to catch them, but to remind them. Because the world changed one moment of truth at a time.